Hi, it's Steph, and I'm at Lowe's, and not only do they get all of their mums for the fall, but there are also lots of new perennials and shrubs in time for fall planting. So let's go ahead and take a look at the September inventory at Lowe's. And the first cool perennial that I saw today is they have some proven winners, anemones. And these here are all budded up, but there are even some that have started to open up. Look at this one here. And a few pretty ones here so we can see what the blooms look like. So it looks like a ruffled variety anemone. It is pink. And the variety is the Proven Winners Fall in Love Sweetly Anemone. It is a perennial and it prefers full sun or part sun. These containers here are 2.5 quarts and they're $12.98. And the Fall in Love Sweetly Japanese Anemone gets to be 20 to 26 inches in height, needs 24-inch spacing. Hardy in zones 4 through 8 or down to negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit. And it is a late summer to early fall bloomer. Anemones are awesome. I actually love them in my garden. I have quite a few varieties, but I don't have this one. It's a pretty one. Weigela, a beautiful shrub that will transition beautifully into fall because of this dark foliage. Now, Weigela blooms in the late spring. It says right here, spring, summer, and fall. So it blooms in spring, and then in summer and fall you get this beautiful dark foliage. This is what the blooms look like on the spilled wine. It is a hot pink trumpet-shaped flower. And the spilled wine is a lower growing, smaller, more compact version of the wine and roses. So the spilled wine is hardy in zones 4 through 8 or down to negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit. It is a sun shrub, getting to be 2 to 3 feet tall and 3 feet wide. And this is a number 1 gallon container for $16.98. Another wonderful shrub is Spirea. So there are 2 varieties here, and both of them have some blooms on them. So there is the Double Play Red, and the Double Play Red looks like the new growth comes in red on the foliage there. And it needs 6+ hours of sun. It is hardy in USDA zones 3 through 8 or down to negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's petite at 2 to 3 feet tall and wide. Colorful foliage, petite shrub, and the seasons of interest are spring and summer. So it blooms in spring and then it has summer foliage color. So here you can see it's got really pretty, like a reddish fuchsia bloom, and then the new growth has this red coloring. The Double Play Red Spirea is $16.98 for a 1 gallon container. And the Double Play Doozy. This one also has really beautiful like fuchsia red blooms. Look at that. And lots of buds. And this one here is hardy in zones 3 through 8 or down to negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit. It gets to be 2 to 3 feet tall and wide. And it has colorful foliage and it is a petite shrub. Really pretty. Look at that. 1 gallon for $16.98. And check out the gorgeous foliage on this shrub here. And if I hadn't known that it was a blueberry, I would have thought that this was the Fothagilia because the foliage is gorgeous. Look at this. It has like almost like different shades of green, a bit of a hint of blue, gray, really pretty. So this is the Monrovia Blueberry called Bountiful Blue Blueberry. It's a full sun shrub. It has abundant berries and it has a low chill requirement. A low chill requirement just means the number of hours of chill time that the shrub needs before it will produce berries. And this particular variety here says it's an award winner. It has pink blooms, which produce a big crop of large sweet berries on a compact mounded shrub. I am getting eaten alive by mosquitoes out here. It is really, really humid in this greenhouse, and I probably got bit 6 times. So if you see me shaking a little bit, that's why. So this shrub here gets to be 4 feet wide by 4 feet tall. $46.98. And as we head into the colder season, wouldn't you want some beautiful winter interest in your garden? And what better to add than a holly? Look at this, the quintessential berry shrub or tree. The new growth is pretty soft, but then it will get pretty spiky as it hardens up and matures. And this here is a red beauty holly. So these are a bit more compact. So let's check out the specs. So the Red Beauty Holly is a full or partial sun tree or shrub. It is easy care. It gives you fall berries. This one here is $49.98. These are Monrovia plants. And it likes partial to full sun, blooms in spring. So the blooms on hollies are like boxwoods. They're a really small, little tiny button-like white bloom. And the hardiness zones on this one is zone 6 through 10, or down to -10 degrees Fahrenheit. And the size on this one gets to be 7 to 10 feet tall and 4 to 5 feet wide. So a nice average size, which means it would fit in a variety of gardens. Really nice. It has a pyramidal shape. And with most hollies, you do need a pollinator in order to get the berries. So the female will bear the berries, but you need to have a male nearby in order for it to set berries. That is the case with most berries. This one didn't indicate, yeah, it says right here, needs a male pollinator such as Blue Prince holly to develop berries, and it is evergreen. Lots of rhododendron, and if you want beautiful blooms next spring, right now in the fall is the perfect time to get them in ground. So they will start forming their buds. You can see there. They have this really beautiful glossy large leaves. They stay this color all winter long. So when you have no more blooms in your garden, evergreens will come in and fill in that gap. So this here is, let's see the variety. This is a Anakrushki rhododendron. It is flowering in spring. This here is a part sun shrub, and it is $36.98. Speaking of evergreens, I found this beauty. Look at this gorgeous yellow arborvitae shrub here. Let's check it out. This is a first edition shrub called Lemon Burst Arborvitae, and it has a beautiful golden color. And it likes full sun, yellow foliage. So anytime that you have a yellow foliage shrub or tree, you certainly want to plant it in full sun if that is what the requirement is. Otherwise, you won't get this beautiful golden color. It'll start getting a little more green. The hardiness zones on this one are zones 4 through 8, and the size gets to be 4 to 6 feet high and 3 to 4 feet wide. Let's see how much it is. Arborvitae Lemon Burst is a number 2-gallon container for $29.98. And another really beautiful dark foliage shrub, a Ninebark. This is also by First Editions, and it is called Fireside. And the Fireside Ninebark, you can see that it has bright red new growth, and it likes full sun, deep red to purple foliage, medium water needs, and it is hardy in zones 3 through 7. It gets to be 5 to 7 feet in width and 4 to 6 feet in height. No, 5 to 7 feet in height and 4 to 6 feet in width. And it is drought tolerant. These are 2 gallons for $27.98. Here's another Ninebark, and this is the Proven Winners Summer Wine Ninebark. And this one has a little bit darker foliage, but it gets brighter with the sun. So the more sun you give it, the brighter it is. And it has these really pretty red stems, and these bloom in the spring, Ninebarks. They get really gorgeous blooms in the spring. Actually, this tag will show us what it looks like. They'll put some weight on the branches so they almost look like they're cascading, and the light blooms against the dark foliage. It's stunning. So the Summer Wine Ninebark is hardy in zones 3 through 7, or down to -40 degrees Fahrenheit. It is a sun shrub. It is native, and it gets to be it needs 6 to 10 foot spacing. Gets to be 5 to 8 feet tall and wide. And these here are, let's see how much. 2-gallon container for $27.98. And some more evergreens, North Pole Arborvitae. These are a Proven Winners Arborvitae that stay a bit more narrow, so they're a little more compact. The North Pole Arborvitae by Proven Winners is a sun evergreen. It is hardy in zones 3 through 8, or down to -40 degrees Fahrenheit, and they get to be 10 to 15 feet tall and 3 to 5 feet wide. They're native and evergreen and fast growing. And look at that photo right there of that grouping. How pretty is that? And because they are narrow, they offer nice vertical structure. North Pole Arborvitae. So let's see how much these are. A 2-gallon container for $25.98. These look like boxwood, but they're actually hollies. And these are the Proven Winners Skybox Holly, also evergreen. And the Skybox, let's see, it gets to be 4 to 5 feet tall and 2 to 3 feet wide. They are hardy in zone 6 through 8 or down to negative 10 degrees Fahrenheit, and they like sun or part shade. And these are a 2-gallon for $27.98. And some winterberry. So these here are the Little Goblin Red Winterberry Holly for winter color. Look at those red berries. And these here like sun or part shade. They are hardy in zones 3 through 8 or down to negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit, so very hardy. They get to be 3 to 5 feet tall and wide. Really pretty shrub. And like most hollies, this one here also needs a pollinator in order to set berry. So it says here that the Little Goblin Red Winterberry needs a Little Goblin Guy holly as a pollinator. And these here are, let's see, they look to be about a 2-gallon. 2-gallon container for $25.98. And Proven Winners now has a version of reblooming azalea. This one here is called Perfecta Mundo Double Pink Reblooming Azalea. So typically you see the Encore azalea, which is a rebloomer. And so now we also have another option here with this variety. So this is a shrub that prefers sun or part shade. It is hardy in zones 6B through 9 or down to negative 5 degrees Fahrenheit. They get to be 2 to 3 feet tall and wide. And they're reblooming and evergreen. So the foliage will be evergreen, and then you get these blooms in spring, and it looks like it's starting to bloom again now in fall. That is what the blooms look like, and I'll show you them on the plant as well. So these here are a 1.71 gallon, so almost a 2-gallon for $27.98. And here's what the pretty pink blooms look like. And this beauty here is a golden Duchess hemlock. I actually have one of these in my garden, and it is more of a spreading shrub. So it gets wider than it does tall, but look at these beautiful arching branches and this gorgeous golden color. Really pretty. So this is a Monrovia shrub, and let's check out the specs. So this is a Golden Duchess Eastern Hemlock. It likes partial sun and shade. This one here is $99. It's a good size, and it is a beautiful shrub, but it is a little bit higher on the price tag there. And it likes, we talked about the light, water when the top 2 inches of soil is dry. It doesn't bloom because it's a conifer, so it's going to offer you some year-round evergreen interest. And it is hardy in zones 4 through 7 and hardy down to negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit. It's moderate growing, getting to be about 3 to 4 feet tall and 3 to 5 feet wide. Some really pretty upright U-Y-E-W. And these here are the Japanese Plum U, also by Monrovia. They like part sun. Now what I do know about U is even though these will offer you some beautiful vertical interest in the garden, the deer are likely to chew on these. They seem to be one that's a little bit less deer resistant, at least in my experience. So they like partial shade to partial sun. They are a conifer that's prized for foliage. They're hardy in zone 6 through 9 or down to negative 10 degrees Fahrenheit. And they are average growing, and they get to be about 10 feet tall and 6 to 8 feet wide. And these here are $49.98. These are really pretty. I love the structure of them. And these pretty evergreens have a nice globe shape, and they are the Little Giant Dwarf Arborvitae. So these like full sun, they stay compact. They are $42.98. And let's see, they get to be about 4 by 4. Hardy in zones 3 through 8 or down to negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit. And they're slow growing. And what's great about these is something like a boxwood that you want to shape into a globe shape, you'd have to prune it in order to maintain that shape. Well, these evergreens, like these arborvitaes here, you don't have to do that. They just naturally grow in this form. Here I'm going to show you an example of a shrub that is being sold at my Zone 6 store, but it's actually rated to a Zone 7. So this is why it's really important for you to read the tags. It has really pretty, shiny, glossy green foliage, so you'd think it's probably evergreen, and it might be in some warmer climates. But here, this shrub is called a sweet tea gardenia, and gardenias smell amazing. It likes full sun to part shade. medium water needs, and it is hardy in zones 7 through 9. So being a zone 6, this would not be hardy for us. So if I were to buy this plant and plant it, chances are it might not return for me after winter. So something to keep in mind. And the size on this one gets to be 3 to 5 feet tall and wide. These are a 2-gallon container for $27.98. Another gorgeous evergreen is a blue star juniper. I actually have a couple of these in my garden and I love them. They are great for the front of a border because they don't get too tall. And mine is 10 years old and it's only about 3 by 4. So good size and maybe about 18 inches in height. This blue star juniper here is by Monrovia. It is $39.98. It's a good size container, maybe a 2-gallon, 3-gallon. And it likes full sun for it to give you this nice beautiful blue-gray color. It is hardy in zones 4 through 8 or down to negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit, and it slowly reaches 2 to 3 feet tall and 3 to 4 feet wide. Blue star juniper. I actually bought this gorgeous shrub the last time I was here, and it had really beautiful pink berries, and now they're starting to get their fall color. Look at that. And this is a St. Johns Wort. And what's great about this is that it also blooms with these pretty yellow blooms. Then you get berries, and then you get this really pretty transition to fall. So a really great long season interest shrub. So this one here is by Monrovia, the Floral Berry Rosé St. Johns Wort. It is a full or partial sun shrub. It gets ornamental berries, so they're not edible. They're just decorative. And these shrubs here are $39.98. It likes partial shade to full sun, which we talked about, and it says that it blooms in summer, followed by berries in fall. Hardy in zones 5 through 9 and hardy down to negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Gets to be 3 feet tall and wide, so 3 by 3. That one's a real pretty one. And another beauty is the smoke bush. Look at this red color. And not only is the color beautiful, but also it has a really pretty rounded leaf. Now these will bloom in the summer with these big puffs of what looks to be like a pink haze or a pink smoke. Really gorgeous. So you can get red shrubs. This one actually could be a large shrub or a small tree if you limit up. But look, there's a smoke bush, and you can see next to a ninebark how the foliage is different. This one has more round, smooth foliage, and the ninebarks have usually more serrated foliage. But both red, but they both look different because of their leaf. That's what the blooms on the smoke bush look like. They're really gorgeous. So this is the Royal Purple Smoke Tree, and it offers dramatic fall color. $49.98 for this container here. It looks to be about a 2-gallon. They like full sun. If you have smoke bushes in shade, too much shade, the leaves get muddy, like a green, like this. You can see the underneath ones that don't get as much sun are a bit more green. So in order to get this nice vibrant red, you want to have it in full sun. And let's see the size on these. You can see here how they've limbed it up, and it looks like a multi-trunk tree. 12 feet wide, 15 feet tall. And did we talk about the hardiness? In case we didn't, hardy in zones 4 through 8 or down to negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit. And this beauty here with variegated foliage is a Rose of Sharon. It is actually called the Sugar Tip Rose of Sharon. It has a really pretty roughly pink bloom that actually almost looks like a rose. This particular variety here is hardy in zones 5 through 9 or down to negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit. It likes sun. It gets to be 5 to 6 feet tall and 4 to 6 feet wide. And what's wonderful about this is that it is a seedless variety of Rose of Sharon, meaning that it will not become invasive because it doesn't set or drop seed. Long blooming, and look at that shrub. The variegated foliage with this beautiful pink bloom. Stunning. Look at that. Now these are not in bloom, but they have lots of buds. You can actually see here, and they will get to opening up soon. And that foliage, look at that. Really pretty. Let's see how much these are. The Hibiscus Sugar Tip is a 3-gallon container for $39.98. They also have the White Pillar Rose of Sharon here, and this one is really cool because it gets tall but not so wide, which is how it gets its name, pillar. So the White Pillar here likes sun. It is hardy in zones 5 through 9 or down to negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit. And it gets to be 10 to 16 feet tall, but only 2 to 3 feet wide. So this would be great to tuck somewhere where you can have the height, but not necessarily want the width. So it's very narrow, heat tolerant, and durable. White Pillar Rose of Sharon. Now let's see how much these are. This one is $27.98 for a 2-gallon. And he has some really pretty Autumn Joy Sedum in a decorative planter. Look at that. So sedum is a wonderful plant for your late summer, early fall garden. And the great thing about sedum is that it doesn't even like a lot of water. It likes poor soil, full sun. It can take some harsh conditions. So this one here is Autumn Joy Sedum Upright Perennial. It is $14.98 because it comes in this cute little whiskey barrel planter. And in fact, if you give Autumn Joy Sedums too much fertilizer, too much water, they start to actually open up in the center and split. So they do better with a well-draining soil that leans dry and full sun. They also have sedums that are in a plain house container, the Lowe's nursery pots that are not in a decorative planter. And these are $8.98, same variety, the Autumn Joy Sedum. Still lots of beautiful cone flowers, and cone flowers are also a beautiful plant. This variety here I have in my garden, the Pow Wow Wild Berry. It self-seeds prolifically, so every year I have more and more of these beautiful flowers. And even when they're done blooming, you can leave them up for the winter because these gorgeous large cones offer a lot of winter interest in the garden. And birds, the yellow finches, love these seeds. Here are the specs on the Pow Wow Wild Berry coneflower. They bloom in summer through fall. They like full sun. They are hardy down to zone 3, so very hardy, down to negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit. And they get to be 15 to 18 inches in height and 12 to 18 wide. But I will tell you that because I've had these in my garden for a few years, when they start self-seeding, they get a lot wider than that. And that's okay by me because they are beautiful. And some Agastash. This one here is really pretty. Look at this bright orange. And even when these blooms fade, these calyx here look like this beautiful mauve purple, so it still offers a lot of color on the plant even when the orange starts to fade. This is the meant to be Queen Nectarine Agastash. It is a full sun perennial. This is a 2.5 quart container for $12.98. And this variety here gets to be 30 to 36 inches in height and needs 32-inch spacing, and hardy in zones 5 through 9 or down to negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Blooms midsummer through early fall. Well, that brings us to the end of the September inventory here at Lowe's. I hope that you've enjoyed checking out what my store has in stock. I hope that you can find these near you. As always, thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please hit the thumbs up button. And please consider subscribing so you don't miss any of my future videos. And we'll see you soon.